All right, let's talk about Italy. When you think of Italy, you probably picture ancient history, amazing food, timeless art. And you're not wrong. But today, we're diving into a different story, one that's happening right now. A story of how this nation is masterfully weaving its incredible past into a really surprising future. And to really get this, let's start with something simple. A daily ritual. Coffee. Because this right here perfectly captures the creative tension at the heart of modern Italy. On one side, you've got the slow, cherished tradition, and on the other, a high-speed, high-tech evolution. For almost 100 years, the classic moka pot has been an absolute fixture in Italian homes. But it's so much more than a coffee maker, right? It's a whole sensory experience. That gentle, bubbling sound, the incredible aroma that fills the kitchen. It's all about taking a slow, deliberate moment. It's basically an icon of the unhurried Italian way of life. And then you have this, the turbo moka. Now, this isn't just a faster pot. It's a high-tech reinvention, inspired by thermodynamic principles, designed to optimize everything. Water flow, heat absorption, to brew a perfect cup in just 2 minutes flat. It's tradition, but on hyperdrive.
So this brings up a really fascinating question, and it's one we're going to explore all through this explainer. Can Italy really accelerate into the future without losing the very soul of what makes it, well, Italy? Let's find out.
Now, that idea of accelerating tradition, it isn't just for coffee pots. It turns out that Italy's past isn't some dusty museum piece. No way. It's actually a super powerful economic engine, fueling its present and its future.
It all kicks off with this core philosophy known as bello e ben fatto. It literally means beautiful and well-made. And it's not just about making things. It's about fusing artistry with industry, creating products that don't just work well, but also tell a deep story of quality and heritage.
And please, don't mistake this for just some quaint little idea. We're talking about a massive economic force. From high fashion and food to furniture and yachts, this sector brings in over 170 billion euros in exports every single year.
But if we zoom out even further, the total impact of Italy's entire creative and cultural world is just staggering. It contributes nearly 303 billion euros. That's about 15.5%, almost a sixth of the country's entire GDP.
Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting. Where is all that growth coming from? Well, if you look at this chart, the most dynamic creative fields aren't just the old traditional ones. The top bar, right there, is software and video games, generating almost 18 billion euros. This is proof positive that heritage and high-tech can absolutely thrive together.
So the key takeaway here is that this unique blend of culture and commerce is seen as a strategic national resource. And why is that? Because in a globalized world, a story of authenticity and deep-rooted quality, that creates value that mass production just can't compete with. It's not a nice-to-have. It's a fundamental competitive advantage for the whole country.
And this just brilliantly illustrates the point with something delicious. Mortadella Bologna isn't just some cured meat. It's a living piece of history. Its authenticity has been fiercely protected by official rules for over 360 years, all the way back to 1661. That is bello and ben fatto in action.
So we've seen how Italy uses its heritage to power its economy, but it's also applying that same inventive spirit to solve some very modern problems, using tech in really clever and, frankly, very human ways.
I mean, take the global challenge of misinformation. In a world of endless scrolling and viral nonsense, how do you actually equip the next generation with the tools to think critically? Well, Italy's tackling this in a super engaging way.
The solution? An app that turns media literacy into a game. As you can see here, students get to go on these missions to spot fake news. They learn to identify all the red flags, like crazy headlines, and ultimately, they build their own guide to become digital detectives. It's all about teaching them to think before they click and share.
All right, let's switch gears to another major environmental challenge, electronic waste. In Italy, each person throws out over 16 kilograms of e-waste every year, and a lot of it isn't handled the right way. So the Myraee app uses AI to make recycling incredibly simple. You just point your phone's camera at an old device, a printer, an old coffee maker, whatever, and the app, using AI, instantly identifies it and tells you exactly where to take it for repair or recycling. It takes a chore and turns it into a simple, responsible action. It's brilliant. So this forward-thinking mindset is now scaling up, shaping Italy's ambition from the level of your own personal finances all the way to the final frontier.
Okay, at the personal level, we're seeing this real evolution in how people think about money. Now, a deep-seated preference for security is still there, for sure, but a big shift is happening. This chart shows that a full 40% of Italians are ready to spend more time on financial planning, and get this, another 20% now see investing as a core part of their identity.
And that forward-looking mindset, it's being mirrored on a national scale, with an incredibly ambitious goal, to become a key player in building the economy of the moon.
And I want to be clear, this is not science fiction. Italian industries are, right now, actively building the essential nuts and bolts, the communication systems, the satellites, the ground stations that will make long-term human and robotic activity on the moon even possible. They're literally building the bridge between Earth and its satellite.
So, you see, from the kitchen counter to the craters of the moon, we're seeing this remarkably consistent story. This is a nation synthesizing its deep, deep roots with a bold vision for what's next, proving that true innovation isn't about erasing the past, but about reinventing it for a brand new era.
Which leaves us with one final thought to chew on. What if the most powerful innovation of all isn't a new gadget or a faster process or even a mission to space, but is actually the ability to look at your own heritage and see it as the foundation for everything that comes next?